Patrick Scaglia. As Peter mentioned, I'm a co-founder of the Foundry. And this is David Liu from Clarity, founder and CEO. And I'll start with this, David, which is, I remember actually the time, it was 4 years ago.
Yes.
When you came for the interview, the selection interview, and you came with this little 3D printed sort of thing.
Sure, UFO. Something.
That was, the censored package, and you had a plan.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember a second thing, which is the plan you had at the time that you sold us on is actually not exactly what you did.
Yep.
So why don't you tell us what you do, what Clarity does, and then I have a few questions through this journey.
Okay, sure. Yeah, that's a funny story. I think we started Clarity with kind of idea of developing a wearable air quality sensor, and that plan completely falling apart. But currently we're in a great position to provide low-cost, high-dense air monitoring network to the cities to provide high valuable, accurate, and resolution data to help city to basically manage the air pollutions. Yes.
And so which city is using this?
So we are currently working on a couple of deals. Mexico City is one of the first pilot city we're going to launch in our networks in. Yes.
And you have gotten funding?
Oh yeah. Oh yes. Yeah, we raised our Series A funds last year around August. Yes.
So one of the I think interesting question I would like to hear from you is sort of your journey. How did you decide? Did you decide one day I'm going to be an entrepreneur? How did this happen? You were at Cal.
Yes.
How did it happen? And how did you find the path? How did you know this was what you wanted to do?
Sure. Of course. I think it's kind of started with me. I mean, I have been always very passionate about environment and I want to do something with it. I tried several routes. I first tried kind of an academic route, which I find boring, and then I later on involved with a lot of NGO works because I want to see how policies angles in environmental works. So I was working very closely with Greenpeace and their campaign directors. And I think it just doesn't fit my personality in a way that I'm quite practical in a way that I want to see the results. I want to see what's the impact I'm making is tangible. So I think that's partially or largely contributes to the reason me and my co-founders founded Clarity, is that we want to develop technologies that can address environmental problems, which we choose air pollutions, very effectively. Yes.
So you started by being the co-founder and the CEO. How did you know you could be a CEO? And how did you build the confidence to be a CEO?
I still don't have the confidence to have it being a CEO. But I guess that's kind of I mean, in our company, we don't really, feel that I'm the CEO, really. It's, but I definitely learned quite a lot through this last 3 years. And probably one of the things I learned being a CEO is that to be able to admit that you're wrong and you can be wrong, and I'm wrong most of the time, but how you can really gather the best information that you can and make a decision and stick with it. I think that's important as a CEO. Yes.
Yeah, that's good insight. And so how do you stay motivated? I'm sure those last 3 years have had ups and downs,
yes.
And ups and downs.
Yeah.
So how do you stay motivated yourself?
I think have a great team definitely help. I think we have a very nice working environment, so team culture, in a way that going to work is really like hanging out with friends. So there was a period that was a pretty dry period for us. That's a deal falling apart. So we literally don't have money to pay anybody for like 2 months. And that was a very hard period. But surprisingly, everybody still come to work every day because that's, I don't know, it's just people believe in the mission and the people, stick together. We stick together in this hard time. And I think that's probably the most help of the motivation that I find.
Actually, I must say that although the product has changed, and I want to come back to that, is why did it change and so on, but the mission stayed the same.
Yes. I think there's a lot of ways you can really...
So do you believe actually defining a mission early on and sticking to it is important?
Yes, totally. I think that's the whole reason we founded Clarity, is that we want to do something to help the air pollution. And so whatever the path we take, essentially you have the same goal. Yeah.
I've heard that actually from somebody here on this stage. I think it was a couple of years ago. Mark Tackling is the co-founder of Tesla, and it sort of made that point that they didn't really know when they started whether they would really do a car or not and what it would be, but they wanted to solve a problem, which was sustainable future.
Yeah.
That was the mission, and stick to it.
Yep.
So you started with this consumer product,
Sure.
essentially. And you had a good reason for it. It was a network product, and you would get, the data from the crowd having the sensor. It was all a great story and very compelling. And so, why did it change? And then, how do you decide this? How did you decide that it was no longer the right path, and then got to another path?
I think when you're doing a company, it's a great learning experience, right? So when we started things, it's a great idea back in that time. But then when you start to dig into the field, you talk with customer, you learn the technology in the field, then you realize that might be not the best fit to achieve what you want to do. So for us, the reason we want to do a wearable air quality monitor is that it can be a great way for us to collect air quality data and essentially help the decision-making parts. But there's several, probably 2 major reasons that hinder that. First, the technology is not there. There's no really mature air quality sensor that's small and low cost enough to build such a device. And second is just the fundamental of crowdsourcing, especially on the air quality data, is not really suitable. The data quality from the wearable device of air quality data might not be as valuable as just simply having a stationary sensor like a sensor that's sitting outside and in a controlled environment to giving the accurate data.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So when did this change happen?
I would say it's probably towards the end of year that the company is founded. So it's end of 2014.
Yeah. And was it a challenge to keep the team motivated when you made that change?
Yeah, I think so. Because in that time, what we decided is that, okay, since there's no good sensor on the market, we're going to make one.
Yeah.
And we did.
Yeah.
And we have developed probably the best low-cost PM2.5 sensor out there in the market. And we license that to our partners currently. And then we are building solutions for the cities. Yes.
Let's talk about fundraising.
Sure.
You successfully raised money, all the money you needed to succeed, and it's on a B2B business.
Yeah.
So you're a new CEO. You had never done this before.
Sure.
So you had all the possible barriers against you, in a sense. And how did you? What's this experience fundraising? How long did it take you? What would be your advice to upcoming entrepreneurs on what to face here?
Sure. I think for our fundraising efforts, it's it took longer than we expected. I mean,
everybody says this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it took us roughly 1 year to do that, and we were in a point that we are so close to signing a deal, but then it's a factor that we cannot control and our partner cannot control that make the deal falling apart. And in that time we were like almost 100% that it's gonna be done, but then in the end it didn't go through. Yeah. So from that, like I basically become super conservative in terms of fundraising. At first I was like I would get super excited if I got like a meeting with a managing partner of a renowned firm and stuff, but that doesn't mean anything, really. Not until you see a term sheet, not until you set in the negotiation table, not until the money hit the bank. I think, yeah. Definitely, in the meantime, it's a lot of persistence in the sense that to just really never give up. Sometimes you never know when or where your investor will come up and follow up with you. So in the end, our deal was a great deal for us, and it comes super quickly. Actually, term sheets in 3 weeks, and the whole round closed in 1.5 months. So that's
yeah. And maybe one last question for people who are sort of following you in your track and are becoming founders of companies is if you look back a few time back from when we first met, you went through the selection process and you started with Foundry. When you look back over these years, do you wish you would have done something really different?
I mean, of course, there's a lot. I would say probably 90% of them. But I really think that, especially, I mean, for myself, I really feel like each step is necessary for us to get to the point where now, because each step is a learning experience. Even you fail, you learn, right? So without that, I don't think we can go forwards, right? So right now I have more experience and I have more knowledge upon what I'm dealing with and where we are going and how can we get there. And all of that is impossible without our experience in the past 3 years.
Yeah.
So
it's a community experience. Yeah, that's very, very insightful. Thank you, David. Thank you so much.
Thank you.